Okay, so it's 3 days before the West Highland Way. I've had the best run up to it ever. I've got PB at parkrun, I've got PB at half marathon, I've got PB at marathon. I'm in good condition. So why am I visiting the wonderful Jay Grady? That's because I've done my back in. How have I done my back in? I've done it through sleeping. That wonderful exercise called sleeping. Night before last, went to bed as normal, woke up and I was in agony. So I'm here with Jay, see if he can fix me in 3 days before the big race.
No pressure, let's see what we can do.
Okay, it's Thursday afternoon now and it's time to jump in the car and head up to Guildford. This is the first step on the way up to Scotland. It's Friday morning, I'm with Tim and Becca. We're just going to travel up to Scotland. And after 9 hours of driving, we're now in Mulgai at the start of the West Highland Way. It's currently 6 o'clock. Race starts at 1 AM. Most important thing is my back, and my back has recovered. I've had absolutely no pain from it at all today. Thank you very much, Jay Grady, for fixing it. It's recovered fantastically. Now I've got going off for a meal in the Italian, and then head down for a few hours, ready for the start. 25 minutes to go. More than a little bit nervous. But it should be great. Really looking forward to this.
It's a pleasure to see everybody here. The race will be starting in just under 20 minutes at exactly 1 o'clock. We started off with 300 people whose entries were accepted. We've got 217 who are here tonight to run the race.
Good morning, it's about 4 AM. We're at Balmaha, so this is about the 18-mile point in the race. The runners are coming down off Conic Hill into the first signs of daylight. Tim and I are waiting now for Colin to come in, expecting him in the next sort of 20 minutes to half an hour, which will put him on target for the 24-hour finish that he is hoping for. So fingers crossed.
It's 4:30 in the morning, about 18 miles in. Behind me we have got Conic Hill, and look at that view. Isn't it fantastic? I'm a bit tired, but otherwise absolutely fine. No niggles, no problems. Head down to the bottom of the hill now, and next checkpoint.
Go Cole, where are you? You're at Balmaha.
Balmaha, yeah. So that's 19 miles?
Yeah, about 31k in. You've got about 7.7 miles to the next check stop.
Yeah, I gave a 4.8 out of 5 just because my legs are feeling a little bit tired. Going down steps is hard, and there was an awful lot of steps coming off of Conic Hill.
And it's a bit cobbly, isn't it?
It's they've put in a whole load of new stuff, which I'm sure is very good, but it ain't good for running on.
No. And as you can see, Tim's wearing his beautiful midge hat.
It's midgy here.
It is, it is. But it's been a lovely morning, and yeah, so we're going to get him ready to go on to the next stop. We'll see you guys soon.
Brilliant. Just left Balmaha and coming down the side of Loch Lomond, and it is absolutely beautiful.
So we're at Rowarden, and here comes Colin. So he's done a marathon at this point, and about 5 hours 40 minutes into the race.
Thank
you. Goes. So here we are at you pronounce it too. Rowarden. Colin's wearing his very sexy nipple tape over there. But what about your knee, Col?
Yeah, I managed to hit a stone and completely stacked it.
Oh!
It's fine, it's just a scratch.
Just a scratch?
Yeah, I did do myself in.
Did you take a selfie whilst you were lying on the floor?
No, I didn't.
Oh, what a shame.
But yeah, have you heard any screams?
No screams.
Because the guy in front of me fell off Conic Hill and dislocated a finger.
Oh, I saw the chap come down. He was asking after the first aid guys on the boat.
The medics at Balmaha didn't know how to fix it, or didn't have the experience. Yeah. But the medic here did. Yeah. So he's come across with a dislocated finger.
Ouch.
To have it fixed here. So I'm expecting a scream any moment.
Oh well, we heard that the medics came in by boat, so hopefully they're
medics came in by boat.
Yeah, that's what we heard. That's what we heard.
Okay.
Yeah. So cool. So you are now. Next stop is Inversnaid.
Bits that will be exposed.
You can see the midges flying around.
Yeah, so I'm not going to see you for the next 4 hours.
No, and in fact, the next time you see us, I will be joining you.
Yes, which will be brilliant.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Right. So
brilliant.
We'll see you very soon, Cole.
Made it to Randaman, or somehow I've pronounced something along those lines, and there's a war memorial over the lake, which is rather appropriate. Now heading along where there's no road on this side at all, so we're in the wilderness. Not a lot of ability to get recovered if we get stuck. The main road goes on the opposite side of the loch. Anyway, 7 miles to the next checkpoint, and about 4 or 5 hours before I see the crew. The section of path to Inversnaid is famous for taking forever because it's just full of little ups and downs that just sap your strength. This is so hard work. And as soon as you get up, you just start going down again. There are bits that you can run along, but they're invariably short and technical. And even steps just make my poor legs ache. Scotland in summer is famous for its midges. And if you can't run fast enough, they can catch you up. So, midge net, rather useful. Problem is, I think I've got a few trapped inside. But, yeah, definitely keep him off. It looks stupid, but very useful. I've made it to halfway. It's been rather hard work. Definitely a harder race than I guess I was imagining beforehand. Anyway, sun's gone, flag has come down, and it's all a bit misty here at the moment, but we will keep on trugging onwards, get to the next checkpoint. When you're tired, it's very easy to make mistakes, and I've just misread the map. I thought I was at a checkpoint, we're coming into a checkpoint here, where I'd meet Tim and Becca for the first time for hours, and I've used all my water up, so that would have been alright. And there's various bits of food and stuff that I need to sort out, so I've been looking forward to that, but I read the map wrong. I've got another 2 miles to go, and this is hard work, really is hard work. So I could let that get me down, or what I've decided to do is eat a little bag of sweeties. It is the little things that cheer you up, so I'll get those down, and I'll get to the checkpoint, be another half hour, but we'll get there.
So, just a very quick one here. We're about to leave, where are we? Orkneytire, that I can't pronounce very well. We're heading now to Bridgewater, but we've heard there's been a fatality at Glencoe, so we may not see Tim now until Kinlochleven. So wish us luck.
They'll be okay. They've got enough food, so we'll be all right. I'll just get bored.
Yeah.
All right. Are you good?
All right.
We're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you later.
One of the unusual things about this race is that we're allowed a pacer, and I've got the wonderful Becca, and we're chunking down this hill rather slowly because my legs are shot, but it's great. We're making progress, and it's great to have some company.
And it's great to be out, and I'm absolutely delighted to be helping Colin out. So, do you think I should tell Colin that we have to go up that Munro or not?
On ultra runs, it is pretty standard that you walk up the hills. The big question is what counts as a hill. At the start of a run, this little slope in front of me would have been an easy run, but now it's definitely a walk. The same, quite maybe surprisingly, applies to downhills. Steep downhills you walk because it just trashes your legs, whereas a gentle downhill you can hopefully run on it. And again, towards the end of a run, what defines a gentle downhill is completely different from the start.
So here he is, running the last sort of mile and a bit into Bridgewater now, doing well, and he says you're still a 4.5, yeah?
4.5, yeah, sounds good to me.
Because we are now going all the way from Bridgewater. We're just leaving Bridgewater. We're going all the way from Bridgewater to Kinlochleven now without support. The roads are closed, so Tim's having to take a long detour around, which means he won't make it to Glencoe. So Colin and I are carrying the world on our backs, including all of our waterproofs. We've got all sorts, food, drink wise, about 1.5 litres of water each, I think. I've got a flask of hot chocolate. Yeah, so heavy loaded now, but the beautiful section up to Glencoe. Okay, guys, so it is the time, I don't know, about 7:20 to 8, and we are at Glencoe. How are you doing, Carl?
I am trashed. I think 2.5, 3 out of 5.
Okay, that's honest.
It's, you know, I'm still moving okay.
Yeah, you are.
I'm still drinking fine. Food is getting harder.
Yeah.
Getting gels down, that seems to work.
Okay.
I'm going to try some flapjack.
Yep.
Yeah, we just got
to keep going, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, my observation is that you are really determined to keep moving, and you haven't really given up at all. You've run when you could, and when you haven't been able to, we've walked at a steady pace. So we've made good time, and on now to Rannoch Moor, and then up to the top of the Devil's Staircase, before landing back down in Kinlochleven, ETA around 10:30. That's a yes.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, let's wrap this up and move on.
So here we go, Colin. Becca says it's 7:30 to 7:40. Glencoe. So I'm assuming that must have been in the evening, PM.
Yep.
PM, obviously.
Yep.
So you're now what, 18 or so hours in, and yeah, your score has dropped 2.5 to 3. You're now saying.
Yes, I wasn't in a good place at this point. The tiredness had basically caught up, and I was pretty much zonked. I mentioned having some flapjack, which homemade by my wife, Nick, and it's fantastic stuff, and it did actually do the job. And after we set off from there, I said, right, I'm definitely a 3 at the moment, might even be a 3.5.
Right.
I've
Great.
perked
Great.
perked back up at that point.
We then had a very steep, long climb known as the Devil's Staircase, which uh, takes you over the top, and then you come down into Kinlochleven. And as I came into uh, the downhill section, I was finding that very difficult to do. And well, basically, I was forced to walk. I couldn't run the downhills. As part of that, part of the reason for that was my ankle.
Okay.
You may remember from one of the earlier clips, I'd damaged my knee.
Yeah.
And the reason for damaging my knee was that I'd hit a rock and fallen forward flat on my face, grazed my knee, minor, wasn't an issue at all. Got back up and then continued running, and basically didn't think too much more of it after that. But either at that stage or after, I can't remember doing anything bad to my ankle after that point. So I assume it had to be the same thing, but my ankle was really starting to hurt, and uh, that was slowing me down. And combined with the tiredness, I mean, I really wasn't very happy when I came into Kinlochleven, which was the next checkpoint.
Yeah, so Kinlochleven, this is 81 miles in,
Yeah,
14 to go, and well, tell us what happened next, because we haven't got any more clips. So
yeah. Um, no more clips, unfortunately, because I wasn't really in the state to be able to make one. Um, I walked into the checkpoint, uh, immediately spoke to somebody there and said, look, low priority, but can I have an ice pack if you've got one available, please? Because I've damaged my ankle. Um, the medic was busy doing something else, but pretty shortly they came over with an ice pack and took my shoes and socks off and had a look at my ankle. And it was a little bit swollen, but not too bad. Put it up on a stool with the ice pack on it, and we discussed what to do next. Now, the next section, 7 miles, I think, roughly to the next checkpoint, is probably the biggest hill on the course. I don't think it's the tallest, but it's definitely one of the hardest to get up, and it also is in a completely remote place. So for the next 7 miles, you're steep uphill and followed by steep downhill in a remote situation. So that was uh, an issue. I've damaged my ankle and I'm slow. So to get to the finish, we were estimating that it was going to be another 7 or 8 hours, something like that. And I could have done it. I thought that the pain in my ankle was bad, but I think I probably could have done that, be it hobbling pretty badly at the end, I'm sure. But there's an awful lot of considerations to take into account. And one of the things we had to do was to get back home again, and to get back home again safely. And that in particular meant that I had to have my crew driving without being completely trashed. Now, if we had a hotel room booked for that evening, but if it took 7 or 8 hours for me to get to the finish line, we would have arrived there 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. We potentially could have gone to the hotel and got an hour or two of sleep, but that would have been it. And then we would have had 8 or 9 hours of driving back straight afterwards. or pretty much that afternoon at least. And if my crew had had very little sleep, then that could have been dangerous.
Sure.
And as it was, when we did drive back, we ended up putting Becca on the car insurance such that we could swap drivers, so
Right.
Tim could get some sleep. So that was all weighing up on our minds. I definitely was at the 2 out of 5 on the scores on the board,
Right.
and my the weight of the ice pack on my ankle was hurting, so I took it off, and the medic looked at it and said, "Oh, that's swollen up." So I'd come into the checkpoint with a minorly swollen ankle. I'd immediately raised it and had an ice pack put on it, and 15 minutes later, it'd blown up like a balloon.
Oh gosh.
And that really was the end of it. We called it at that point and said,
Okay.
it's some often when you're doing ultras, you talk about it as being class type 2 fun. Type 1 fun is where you enjoy it at the time, enjoy it afterwards. Type 2 fun is where you're not probably enjoying it at the time, but when you look back at it in retrospect, you say, "Oh yeah, that was great." We were in danger of going into type 3 fun, which is when you don't enjoy it at the time and you look back at it and you still think, "No, I didn't enjoy that." So, for all of those reasons, we pulled at
Okay.
Kinlochleven at the 81-mile mark.
Right.
And yeah, we went from the checkpoint straight to the hotel room, slept very solidly, with a late get up the next morning, and I woke up and think, did I regret making that decision? And it's one of the things that's been on my mind ever since. Do I regret doing it? And no, I think I made the right decision at that time. It would have been type 3 fun, and it would have been horrible for everybody else as well, and dangerous driving back. So
Sure.
yes, it was the right decision.
Okay. So big question then, all the listeners now wanting to know, Colin, is will you be back? Unfinished business.
I knew you were going to ask that question. So it's something that I've been thinking about. I'm not
Okay.
going to do it next year because I'm going to do the South Downs Way
Right.
100 next year. I think
Okay.
that's my next year. Will I put it on the list after that? And I think the answer is still I don't know.
Okay.
Definitely, if I was going to do it again, I would do it slightly differently. So I would get 2 drivers for the crew,
Okay.
and then got the choice of driving up or flying up. And potentially it would be better all round if we flew.
Right.
But then that means hiring a van in Scotland and trying to get all of the kit that I took with me up there and back somehow. So there's logistical issues which I think need to be solved.
Okay.
Running an ultra which requires a lot of outside support in Scotland when you live in Cornwall is a difficult process. Mileage traveled, I didn't do. I only did some of the driving, but it was 1,700 miles.
Wow.
From Thursday evening to Monday morning when I finally got home.
Right. Okay. So going back to the preparation, then the episode we did on preparation, and wearing your meticulous planning hat, Colin, anything on that you would look back and think, yeah, I should have done that differently?
Yes, I went into the race very confident of my ability because I was at the top of my game in the measures I could do. I was getting PBs. I'm 55 and getting a PB at 55 and multiple PBs suggests that my running is quite good at the moment, and I'm really pleased with that and thought I was in a good place. However, I had concentrated, deliberately so, I'd concentrated on 20% of my training as being speed work or high heart rate work, which basically meant speed work.
Sure.
And although that was great for my 5Ks up to marathon distance, I'm not sure that was good for nearly 100-mile ultra.
Right.
And I think perhaps my training was concentrated in the wrong areas. But there was other races I was doing as well as the West Highland Way. So you know, it's always a juggle. You can't train for every race if you do lots of different types of races. So did I do the ideal prep for the West Highland Way? Probably not. Would I change it? Probably not either, because I was happy with with the results I got. Sure. But yeah.
Okay. Well, Colin, it's been great having you back on the podcast, and thank you so much for you know, all the recording, and a big thanks to your crew, Becca and Tim, for all the work they did, and yeah, as listeners will have heard as we've gone through this, you know, some high quality recordings, and it's great to have those snippets, you know, actually, you know, recorded live while you're out there. So it's been absolutely fantastic. So yeah, so we wish you luck with all your rest of your running. I hope your ankle is on the mend, and yeah, I'm sure you'll be back on the podcast at some point.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Trevor. It was a great race, very well organised, and really enjoyed what I did. It was a shame not to complete it, but it was the right decision on the day, and I can always go back and have another go.
Absolutely. Well, when you do that, we'll like to know about it.
Thank you, Trevor.
Cheers, Colin.